Hey guys, so it's been a while. This is Henrik. He's kind of passed out, so I don't think we're gonna get too much from him today. No joke, this is pretty much all we do all day. We kind of hang out on the bed. He sleeps sometimes. I take him in the stroller and we go for a walk, we get a coffee, we go pick up the kids from school or one of the kids from school. Today we attempted the mall, so that was pretty fun. I've been meaning to make these videos for a while, and I just, to be honest, I kind of haven't really felt like myself until recently. So if you follow me on Instagram, the handle's Bluebirdkisses. Most of you guys know it, but if you follow me on Instagram, then you know that I kind of had like a pretty rough time with the baby blues. Once I realized what it was, I just assumed, you know, most moms go through this and we all get a little bit weepy and a little bit sad after the baby comes, and it's fine. But it wasn't until I actually spoke with a public nurse just before I had Henrik, actually, that she asked me, well, how long did your postpartum last? Like, how long were you sad for, and how long did you have, you know, those really awful thoughts for? And then when I told her that it was, you know, I think it was like a couple of months, maybe closer to 3 months before I felt totally normal, that's when she said, well, you know, usually if we say that if it's more than like a couple of weeks, then it's not just the blues, it's more like postpartum depression. So at that point I realized, okay, maybe that's what I had. So the first thing I guess I wanted to kind of address, other than introducing you to who I think is one of the most handsome little guys out there, is I actually wanted to address the whole postpartum depression and baby blues thing. And if you're a first-time mom and you're watching this, I just want you to know that you're going to feel sad. Most moms feel sad at some point. The degree to which you feel sad might vary. It's different for every person, and it's even different for me, to be honest, from baby to baby. With Johannes, it was super intense. One of the questions that I got was, well, what is, you know, what are the thoughts that kind of go through your head when you have this postpartum and when you have these blues? So I'm going to tell you guys, I guess, what my thoughts were. They're pretty insane. Like, I'll always remember, I brought Johannes home and I was holding him, I had him on my chest, and he was fast asleep, kind of like how Henrik is. And all of a sudden he got the hiccups, and he was hiccuping, and I looked at him and I just thought, wow, like, you used to get the hiccups in my belly, like in my tummy, just, you know, a week ago, just like this, just the same, and around the same time, and it felt kind of the same. And then I thought to myself, you were on the inside a week ago and now you're on the outside, and it's been a week and you're a week old, and every day that passes, every minute that passes, every second that passes, you're getting older. And I'm gonna get all teary again. And you're getting older, and one day you're not gonna be here, and it was incredibly overwhelming. And I guess it's still overwhelming because I'm crying, but it's a really overwhelming thought to all of a sudden realize, like, your own mortality and like your kids' own mortality. And so it kind of snowballed for me as I was lying there on the couch, and Michael, I think, was watching like a game or something on his iPad or on the computer, and all of a sudden, like, I looked at Michael and I realized, you know, there's going to be a day when I'm not going to be here, and he's not going to be here, and my parents aren't going to be here, and everyone that I know is going to pass away. And it was so dark and so heavy that I just, it was awful, actually. I still remember that sort of pressure. Anyways, and those are kind of the thoughts that go through my mind when I deal with the blues. And it's like a really weird feeling that kind of starts creeping up for me around 2, 3, 4 in the afternoon. It kind of depends on the day. The days when it's sunny and beautiful out, I tend to actually be fine. until it starts to get dark out. But the days when it's when it's dark and kind of raining, the way that it's been here at least the last couple of days, those are the really awful days. So anyways, I did what I assumed that I should do, and when Michael asked me, because he obviously saw that I was bawling on the couch, and he asked me, he said, well, what are you, like, what's wrong? Like, are you okay? Is everything okay? And I kind of just like verbal diarrheaed out, and I told him everything. And I'm pretty sure that must have been pretty scary for him, actually, to hear your wife, like, who had just had a baby, talk about death and all these horrible, awful things. But you know, he said, okay, well, let's get out of here, like, let's go for a walk. So we put Johannes in the stroller, and we went outside, and we took him for a walk, and it helped. Getting the fresh air helped. It was still, I still felt that feeling, that really deep, you know, sadness when we would get back, and when, especially in those hours, you know, when I'm breastfeeding and I would be totally by myself in the dark with the baby. I still think about that stuff, and that's still one of the harder times for me. But during the day I tend to kind of do stuff that kind of distracts me, and I find getting out and getting fresh air, and now that I have multiple kids, actually going and spending some time with Johannes and with Magnus, and realizing that yes, we get older, but you know, there's so many positives and so many amazing things that kind of happen with each stage. It definitely helps me mentally. So I've never taken medication or really anything like that for any of my feelings. I tend to talk them through. So at the time I had Johannes, I only really had Michael and my mom a little bit to talk to about this stuff. Now that I have you guys, I tend to talk through my blog, and I tend to talk through social media as well, because honestly, like, I'm not alone. I'm not a unique case. I'm sure all moms, you know, think of this stuff and get anxiety. But let's answer some more happy questions. So I actually screenshotted a whole bunch of questions from people. So let's do one. Actually, okay, so this I've gotten from a whole bunch of you guys, because you've seen it on my Instagram stories, and it's about my Dyson dryer and what I think of it, and do I think it's actually worth, you know, the $500 that it costs. And there's a short and a long answer. The short answer is yes, I think it's awesome, which is why I bought it. But the reason I like it, aside from the fact that it's kind of quiet and it's really, really fast, it makes my hair pretty smooth, but I don't really typically have frizzy hair, and I don't have curly hair. My hair is like this, whether I blow dry it or I don't. But the one thing that I like about the Dyson dryer is actually the warranty. And I've had experience with Dyson as a company before, because we have a Dyson vacuum, and they're awesome. So they have a pretty good warranty on their hair dryer, and I don't know about you, but my hair dryers break every 5 to 6 months. I don't know if it's, maybe it's just a me thing, but I tend to buy, you know, the grocery store or the Winners or the Marshalls hair dryers, and they, no joke, always break. Something always happens to them. So I find the money there kind of adds up. So I like the fact that there's a warranty on this one, and I know that if something happens, Dyson's going to fix it and replace it ASAP, because they've done that with our vacuum. So for me, it's worth it, because I feel like I'm spending a bigger chunk of money up front and saving myself, you know, $50 every 4, 5, 6 months buying these cheapo hair dryers that are just going to break on me, and then I have to go out and make a special trip to buy a new one. So I like it for all of those reasons. Is it harder adjusting to your third baby than it was with Magnus, or is it easier? Is it what you expected it to be to have 3 kids? So I expected 3 kids to be chaos. You know, I have 2 boys. They're loud. They do everything loud. They talk loud. They sing loud. They play loud. They tantrum really, really loud. Everything is loud in my house. So I expected it to be chaotic. To be honest, having 3 hasn't been that hard, from like a juggling perspective, like juggling the 3 kids. I have a lot of help. Johannes, for example, you know, he's 6, he's not a baby. He's able to help with his little brother. So Johannes will, like, you know, he'll have Henrik on his chest, like on the couch, for example, in the mornings while I make breakfast, and he loves that, and Henrik seems to love that too. Or, you know, worst case scenario, I bring Henrik into the kitchen or in the living room and I put him in his rocker, and then Johannes will sit beside him and sing him songs and give him a soother if he cries, and he's very helpful. So that part's been pretty easy. I've also had lots of help from my parents who come in the morning to help take the kids to school, especially because I haven't been able to drive to do the pickups and the drop-offs myself. The hardest part I found so far has been me, physically. It's been hard doing stuff because of my C-section, and Magnus being only 2.5, he's always been like a little mama's boy, which I've kind of encouraged, but it got hard after my C-section because I couldn't, you know, pick him up and carry him up the stairs, and I couldn't get on the bottom bunk with him and run to his room if he was having a nightmare at night, and I couldn't pick him up and put him on the toilet if he had to pee, and he didn't want his dad for it, he only wanted mommy. And hearing that, like hearing I want mommy and why can't mommy help me, like that was heartbreaking. So that was hard. And then I had obviously mom guilt and all that other good stuff that comes with being a mom. I think once you get to like a certain level of sleep deprivation, then, you know, you're just sleep deprived, and that's me. I mean, I haven't slept through the night in like over 6 years. I actually found it a harder adjustment to go from like being single, like wife, but sleeping through the night, to having one baby, Johannes. Even though he was like a pretty easy baby, I found all of a sudden having to like be on and watching them and being in tune with their needs to be harder. But now, like, I kind of get it. I know how to diffuse tantrums, and I know, you know, what to do if a tantrum happens and how to handle it. And you know, when Henrik got like thrush in his mouth, the minute I saw the little spot, I was like, that's thrush, like I know what that is, and I immediately dealt with it. I think there's like there's definitely a confidence that comes with being a mom of multiple kids, and the juggle is already kind of there. Like, you're already used to making breakfast and pouring milk and feeding babies and kids while holding a baby. Like, you're just, you know, you're used to having all these like crazy extra limbs. And I know that if all else fails, and if this guy is having like a really fussy period in the evening, all I have to do is put him in a wrap and they kind of quiet down, and that gives you free hands to take care of the other kids and read books and feed them dinner and cook dinner and eat dinner for yourself. I can't believe he is still sleeping. Like, who sleeps through all these videos? This guy. I guess he's on mom. He's nice and soft and cozy. I'm trying to show him to you because I feel like you never really see his face, but anyways, there you have it. There's my first post-baby video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Bye, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Say bye, Henrik.